If you're living paycheck to paycheck, I need you to hear this clearly. This is not an accident, it's the default design. Because the system doesn't just want you to work, it wants you dependent. Dependent on your salary, dependent on stability, dependent on permission. So you'll keep showing up even when your life isn't moving forward. And that's why paycheck to paycheck feels so humiliating. Not because you're lazy, not because you're irresponsible, but because you can literally see the pattern. Salary comes in, bills go out, life repeats, and nothing changes. And here's the part most people don't understand. Even if you earn more, the loop can still continue. Because paycheck to paycheck is not an income problem, it's a structure problem. They trained you to solve money problems the wrong way. Budget harder, work overtime, save slowly, and wait until retirement. But none of that fixes the real issue. Your entire life is still powered by one thing, your next paycheck. So in this video, I'm going to show you what most people were never taught. The cash flow system that ends paycheck to paycheck. Not a hack, not motivation. A real system, built in levels. And level 3 is what separates people who escape from people who stay trapped forever. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The real reason paycheck to paycheck never ends. Let's be brutally clear. Most people think paycheck to paycheck ends when you budget harder, you spend less, you earn more, and you become disciplined. So what do? They cut lifestyle, they cancel subscriptions, they work overtime, they take side jobs, they hustle. And yes, this can help temporarily. But the loop usually returns. Why? Because paycheck to paycheck is not caused by spending, it's caused by dependency. A dependent system looks like this. Time exchange for salary, salary exchange for bills, and repeat the process. You can reduce spending, you can increase salary, but the structure stays the same. Your life is still powered by your body, your energy, your hours, your mood, your health, and you can't scale that forever. So the moment life hits you, unexpected repair, family emergency, medical bill, rent increase, you fall back into the broke loop because you never built the only thing that truly ends it, which is the cash flow that exists without you. Chapter 2. Why earn more is a trap. Now this will hurt, but you need it. Earn more is not bad advice, but as your primary strategy, it becomes the trap. Because once you earn more, your lifestyle expands, your standards increase, your obligations grow, and your identity changes. You start paying for convenience, for comfort, for status, for rewarding yourself. You don't do it because you're dumb. You do it because life gets heavier and spending becomes emotional relief. So you upgrade. Slightly better car, slightly nicer house, and slightly more expensive taste. Then your salary becomes more important than ever. You can't quit, you can't pause, you can't breathe. So earning more becomes golden handcuffs. You feel richer, but you're more trapped. This is how people end up earning $10,000 a month while still living paycheck to paycheck. So the question isn't, how do I earn more? The question is, how do I stop needing my salary to survive? Chapter 3. The growth asset trap. Here's where most people fall into the next trap. Once they realize working harder isn't enough, they discover investing, and their brain immediately gets addicted to the most seductive number in finance. High return. 20%, 50%, 100%. Stocks, crypto, options. The next big thing. And I get it, because when you're trapped, you don't want slow progress. You want an exit. You want freedom fast. So your brain starts thinking, if I can double my money, I can finally escape. But here's the harsh truth. Most people are trying to escape a cash flow problem with a price movement strategy. That's not freedom. That's gambling disguised as hope. Because growth assets come with two brutal realities. 1. Volatility. Your net worth goes up and down. And when you're paycheck to paycheck, volatility is not normal market cycles. Volatility feels like danger because your life has no buffer. 2. Liquidity under pressure. This is the killer. When life hits and you need cash, you don't sell at profit. You sell at the bottom. That's how people lose years in one mistake. And the psychological damage is worse than the financial loss. After that pain, people conclude, investing is too risky. It's not for people like me. So they run back to paycheck safety, and the broke loop wins again. So here's the truth. Growth assets can build wealth, but without cash flow, you can't survive long enough to win. That's why the rich hold during crashes and the poor sell, not because of intelligence, but because of structure. Chapter 4. The Cash Flow System, the only real exit. This is the part that changes everything. The cash flow system is simple in concept. It's built on one rule. Use your income to buy systems that generate income. Not saving to feel safe, not investing only for retirement, not spending to feel alive. But building a loop like this: salary buys cash flow assets then generate monthly cash flow then reinvest, then more cash flow generated, and finally, freedom. And now, let me say something important. Cash flow isn't just income, it is psychological oxygen. Because cash flow gives you margin, patience, stability, and the ability to rebuild. Even if you lose money, if you still have monthly cash flow, you don't collapse. That's why cash flow is boring, but powerful. And that's why most people ignore it. Because cash flow by itself feels too slow. 6%? Meh. And yes, if you only use your own money, it is slow. Which brings us to the part nobody explains properly. Chapter 5. The Real Secret. Cash flow plus leverage. This is where the real escape happens. The rich don't build cash flow using only their own money. They build cash flow using one tool: leverage. Debt. Not consumer debt, not lifestyle debt, but productive leverage. Here's what most people don't realize. Your paycheck is not just income. Your paycheck is a financial passport. Banks don't care about your dreams. They care about three things: cash flow consistency, repayment behavior, and risk profile. So when you have salary, you have leverage capacity. That means you can control more capital than you own. And this is where the boring 6% turns into freedom. Let's do brutal math. If you want $5,000 per month cash flow, that's $60,000 per year. At 6% return, you need $1 million capital. Most people will never reach that using salary alone. Even if you save aggressively, it takes decades. And by the time you get there, inflation made $5,000 feel like $2,000. So what do the wealthy do? They don't wait to save $1 million. They borrow capital using credibility. They buy assets that generate cash flow, then use the cash flow to repay the debt. That's the system. Salary to bank leverage to cash flow asset pays the debt, and finally, cash flow remains, asset remains. This is why two people with the same salary end up with completely different lives. One consumes income, one uses income as a lever. Chapter 6. Why inflation makes debt your ally if you use it right. Here's the final layer most people never understand. Inflation destroys savers, but inflation helps borrowers. Because most debt repayments are fixed. For example, loan repayment is about $2,000 per month for 25 years. That $2,000 stays constant, but rent and asset income rises with inflation. Year 1, rent covers 70 to 80%. Year 10, rent covers 110%. Year 20, rent covers 150%. The repayment is still $2,000. So inflation becomes your tailwind. You're paying future debt with cheaper money. This is why rich people don't fear inflation. They structure their life so inflation works for them. But again, this only works if you use leverage to acquire cash flow asset. Without cash flow, leverage becomes suicide. With cash flow, leverage becomes a machine. Chapter 7. Why most people still fail, even knowing it all. Now here comes the money mirror. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail because they don't know the system. They fail because they can't become the person who runs it. And paycheck to paycheck survives through psychology. Psychology number 1. Instant relief addiction. Stress? Spend. Tired? I deserve it. Sad? Buy something. Cash flow building requires delayed gratification, and most people don't have that muscle. Psychology number 2. Fear of uncertainty. Cash flow investing isn't instant. The early stage feels slow, so people panic and quit. Psychology number 3. Identity conflict. You were trained to be a safe worker. Level 3 requires ownership thinking. And ownership thinking has no permission. Psychology number 4. Comfort with being average. To escape, you must become abnormal. Less consumption, less approval, more discipline. Most people fear judgment more than poverty. And that's why the broke loop survives. Not financial, psychological. Chapter 8. What's the right thing to do? Now let's turn this into action. Here's the exit system, not theory. Step 1. Track your dependency ratio. How many months can you survive without salary? If it's 0, your problem is dependency, not budgeting. Step 2. Build cash flow before growth. Cash flow creates stability. Stability creates patience. Patience creates wealth. Start small. Dividends, rental room, skill income, and simple business. Step 3. Reinvest cash flow automatically. Cash flow must become a loop, not a treat. Step 4. Increase leverage slowly. Debt is not a shortcut. Debt is an amplifier. Use it only when cash flow can support it. Step 5. Keep lifestyle low until cash flow replaces it. Don't upgrade life using salary. Upgrade life using systems. That's the reversal. Final truth. The money mirror. You're not living paycheck to paycheck because you're bad with money. You're living paycheck to paycheck because you were never taught the real exit. They taught you to work hard, stay safe, save slowly, and wait until retirement. That's not wealth. That's obedience. The broke loop doesn't end when you earn more. It ends when you build cash flow. The mirror never lies. The question is, will you keep running in the broke loop or finally build your exit?